Hi, welcome to Talk with Taz Live. I hope that you're ready for a treat today because we're going to have one and it's going to be a sweet treat because we're going to be talking brownies. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Felicia Brookins to Talk with Taz Live. Hi guys, to Talk with Taz Live. Felicia is an award-winning author and she is a playwright. And this is her first play, and I'm waving at everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. And so Felicia is going to be joining me along with two of the actors from her play. And so as I said, we're going to be okay, be having a little treat, but we're also going to be digging into some stuff that, I'm Black, so I should say African American. So sometimes we don't like to talk about this stuff publicly, but we're going to be talking about it today. And you don't want to miss it. I'm bringing you in. So do I have Lenita joining me or do I have Felicia joining?
Felicia Brookins is in.
Hi.
Lenita is coming in soon.
Okay. Well, Felicia, you just circling right now. We don't see you, but I see the circle.
Okay. That'll work.
We've had some storms here in North Carolina. And so, hi, Brady. We've had some storms, and they're sort of still going on right now. So I was like, oh, no. But with the Master Speaks, we just go with it.
That's it.
Now, I think Brady has joined us.
Yes.
Hi, Lenita. And hi, Brady. Now, am I going to see them on camera? Let me see. Because you guys are still circling through. Hi, Leslie.
Let's see. Is there anything we need to do? Let's see.
Okay. Now I see an icon, Felicia.
Yeah, I see that. That's interesting. That just came up. Let me try it again.
Just take your time. Brady, I think, is going to be joining us. He just sent me a request to join. Hey, Felicia. Oh, I'm waving at you, Felicia. Hey, Brady.
Hey, Miss Teresa. How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well. Very glad to be here.
Well, I'm so glad to have you. Felicia is circling through. Hi, Davina. I'm just waving at all the people that are joining to cheer us on today.
Understood.
Someone else that might be trying to get in here. All righty. We're going to bring Lenita in.
Okay.
There you go, Felicia.
There I go. Hey, Brady. Hi, Kitty.
Hey,
Now, Felicia, you didn't want us to see you. Is that what it was? Because it said you turned on your camera.
I guess it was on initially, and I could see me and everything, and then it went off. And I don't know. Technology, it does what it wants.
Well, I'm with you, and
Hey, Lenita.
Hey, everybody.
Hi. Well, if we were at the church, and if it was a Wednesday night, I'd say, let us have a little word of prayer. But I'm going to say it like that anyway. Lord, help us with the technology, because it's probably going to be me. So just forgive me. Just get that out the way. Now we can all relax.
Yeah.
Breathe in and breathe out. I tell you, technology is something. But as I was telling the folks, we in for a treat. Because I've been researching this a little bit, Felicia. And sometimes once I start researching, my mind go left, then it goes right, and I'm like, And as my mentor would say to me, you only got 60 seconds, so jump on in. So let me jump on in. So as I was telling them, I'm so excited to have you back with me, Felicia. There's a show that's going to air soon, guys, out in the universe, where Felicia and I had an opportunity to talk about Sister Nadine. Now, Sister Nadine's ways, for those of you who are not familiar with Sister Nadine, She can be purchased on Amazon, Walmart.com, and a couple of other places. You need to get Nadine. Now, I want everybody to go to the play, but how can I put it? Because I'm a Southern Belle. You haven't had fun until you read about Sister Nadine. I'm gonna put it there. So I want you first, Felicia, to tell them a little bit about Sister Nadine, and then we're gonna jump into the deep water talking about this play.
Okay, so Sister Nadine Simmons would be, for some, the typical usher at their church. But Sister Nadine has a few extra things going on with her. She got some funny ways, as I call them. Sister Nadine is someone that is very controlling. She's enamored, you could say, with her pastor. She runs everything at the church. She doesn't want you to try to do anything without going through her first. She has a lot of control issues when it comes to her household also. She doesn't want her husband to be the man of the house. I always say she wears the pants, the belts, and the drawers in the household. And because of that, her husband can't be the man he needs to be. She is also, though some may not agree, I say a victim of a generational trauma, a generational curse. And she is carrying that down to her 3 daughters, where her husband, Kenny Simmons, bless his heart, he's doing the best he can to try to make her see this, but she does not want to hear him. The only person that can do anything with her is her mother, Mama Ruth, and that's the person that she got those ways from. So that's a little something about her. I guess the only thing I would add would be she is not to be played with.
Well, she is not to be played with. And
to be played
for us Southerners, and everybody on the screen is Southern, because everybody, I'm North Carolina, and these lovely 3 people are Mississippians. So we understand what that means, not to be played with.
Not to be played with.
Well, I'm going to get to my actors, but let me ask this. Knowing what I know about Sister Nadine, and then what you just shared with the audience, how did you come up with this title?
Well, you know, again, being from the South, sometimes we say, "Oh, she got some nasty ways." What is it you don't like? I just don't like her ways. You know, the way she is, the way she talks, the way she responds, the way she acts. And so I just decided to incorporate that with some of the experiences I've had and some of the things I've seen and been privy to when it comes to women that say they are women of God, that they're Christians, and you know they have this, they dress this part, but when they interact with you, they don't act the part. So they have this image that they put on of God. They just carry the image of him, but they don't really have the likeness of him. You know, so it's a big difference. So I just decided to take that and make it a fiction book because I want to be to do whatever I want to do with this character, but also be able to present and share with people reality of some of the people that I have met, and maybe even trigger some people to remember some things, you know, that maybe occurred with them in church. And also I wanted to be able to transform hearts and minds with this. I want people to do a self-evaluation of themselves. You say that you're a Christian, that you're a woman of God, and you may dress the part, but do you act the part? Are you sincere, you know, in the way that you act? And also one last thing, to get people to be aware of the fact that the way you act and how you carry yourself can determine someone else's decision to have a relationship with God. It can determine their viewpoint or thoughts about someone that says they are a Christian, and it first begins in your own household.
You know, you really preached the sermon there, First Lady. It is First Lady, it's First Lady, right? Now, I'm going to go about this a little differently. King, Lenita, I would have gone to you next, but let me recognize the king here. King, God, the man is the head of the house, so let me start with King here. I don't know what I'm going to do with y'all. He said supposed to be, now you know we let you men be the king of the house.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see this play then. I can't wait for you to see it.
Now he's telling y'all something. This is for these women and these men who always got something to say about us women now. You need to go see this. I'm telling you. But now, talk to me now, Brady. Now, you are playing the role of Kenny. You heard what Felicia just said about Kenny. He's a good guy. God knows he.
Yeah.
I read the book. He's a good man. He is married to Nadine,
Mhm.
and we all know Nadine. Some of us may be Nadine,
Some
because
of
I'm an
us.
usher, and my mama's an usher,
Mm.
and I do remember those ushers that give you that look, and you
Mhm.
know that you knew what to do. But you know, to live with that person day in and day out, how have you managed? How, you know, when you started conceptualizing this role, what did you draw from to be able to be man enough to deal with Nadine and her ways?
Well, in all honesty, the character of Kenny can actually be very easily viewed as a lot of men in today's society.
Mm.
Kenny has simply fallen down, and as a result of
Yes,
him falling, he wants to get himself back together, and he wants to get back on top. But yet, and
yes,
still,
he
the
does.
circumstances won't allow him to just do what he needs to do in order to just flat foot stand down and take control of his life, his marriage, and
Mhm.
his family once again. So he relies on a little bit of drinking. He relies on a little bit of smoking. And as a result, he feels as if those things are pulling him away from God. But in many instances, they could be the things that could be pulling him closer. So Kenny is I think an example. Kenny is an example of a lot of men in today's society. So in seeing that and seeing what happens and what takes place in a lot of marriages and what takes place in a lot of things in this day and age, I just simply try to just use that attitude toward the character, and that's how I'm trying to pursue it.
And you're doing a good job now. You know, you have a lengthy resume. I mean, you're a child prodigy. You've been singing, you've been acting, you've been hosting, all of this since the age of 9. You know, you shared the stage with Patty Bell, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, on and on and on. Being a black male in today's society, and as you said, you know, Kenny really is reflective of a lot of our men, and not just black men who are struggling to do the very best that
Yeah.
they can for their family, but life circumstances sometimes give them a hiccup and they kind of stumble a little bit. You know, looking at all that you've achieved, and let me just say, I listened to, I think is the song good? Is it Good Night? You know, I'm so bad with words and titles.
Oh, you
Is it Good Night?
talking my recent single, the one that's just released? Tell Me Goodbye.
Tell me goodbye.
Oh,
See, I knew it was a G.
okay.
Tell me goodbye. And when I was listening to it, what I heard was I heard Otis Redding,
Mhm.
I heard Aaron Neville, and I heard a little bit of my brother, Tony Stewart, because you got a long range. And so, tell me goodbye. It's so easy to say goodbye. Think about where I'm going with this now. It's easy to say goodbye and just throw up your hands and walk out the door. But Kenny is not trying to say goodbye. He's doing everything that he can to be the quote unquote man that Nadine says she wants him to be. But it seems like he keeps hitting the brick wall. Now, I want you to draw on your experiences as a child prodigy, you know, over 25 years of being in the entertainment industry. And how does that then feed into your insight and what you're going to bring to this character? Because I was thinking, is he going to get a chance to sing a little bit, Felicia? I'm like, and both of them sing. I was like, my God,
Yeah, they do.
sing at all. You know, Lenita, you don't let them sing. But tell me now, how does that? She's nodding her head, so y'all better be prepared. I'm giving her something to play. You know, how has all of that impacted you as a man? First of all, those experiences.
Teresa, in 2023, you try not to make things, we have to be careful how we put things because
Yes.
everything, careful how we word them. But in 2023, I'm not somebody who would want to make anything about race or anything of that nature. But I can boldly say that I have grown in uh, a black man in the United States of America. And I've grown up in what is considered to be one of the most biased states of all time. Mississippi has the reputation of just being the worst that it is. And most of the times here in the South, you are already categorized and stereotyped just because of your background, just because of we've been thought and said to be bringing up the rear, no matter what it is that we try to do. So when I say, when you take the matter of what has been my, my pushing point of what has, made me want to fight all that I can within the industry, I simply did not want to be a stereotype in America. I feel that we have some of the best talent. We have some of the best everything that there is here in Mississippi. And the only reason that we keep bringing up the rear is because there are too many of us who are afraid to step to the front. So in looking at Kenny and looking at, and going back to the play, it makes me fight not to assure that I fall into that category, to make sure that I don't allow if I fall down, that I remember that I can always get back up again no matter what it is. So I would say that's been it. I guess just growing up here and trying my best to make the best of life, because of knowing what is considered to be here. I feel like that's what the reason that I pushed as hard as I have.
And, I think that you are a role model, Brady, and I think that Kenny is a role model also for all men, because regardless of what your circumstances are, you can be any ethnicity, grow up in an affluent family, neighborhood. It only takes one thing to happen, and all of the affluence is gone. But it's the person's character then that has to keep them going and propel them forward. And that's what we see in Kenny. And I think that as God was selecting all of the actors for the varying roles for Felicia, I think that, because he knows what we don't know, I think he was very intentional about the people's person, first of all, because you bring a part of that to your humanity, your desire to not be, you didn't put it this way, but I'm going to put it this way, a statistic. You bring all of that to the role of Kenny, and that's actually what he's struggling with. And that's the reason he drink a little bit and he smoke a little bit. And then, he don't get a little loving at home, so he do a little stuff, So again, you bring that humanity to the table, which I think that all of the audiences will be able to relate to. And I think that that's a testament to your written word, Felicia, and then how God and your casting director were able to select the proper actors for the various roles. Well, let me slide to my right here. It might be y'all left, but my right. Lenita.
My.
I was doing a little homework, prepping for this out here. Lenita, you've done it all. Now you correct me if some of what I'm getting ready to say is wrong. You also are from a artistic family. You began acting, was it at the age of 5? I think I read somewhere. At an early age,
elementary. At the age of 5, but acting,
and I grew up singing and doing speeches for my mother on her program, so I know how that be at an early age. So that meant you probably did a little singing, and then you did a little more singing, and then you said, "Oh, I'm gonna really sing." And I'm in North Carolina, and so we got a singer that went on American Idol. And she sang my song. Y'all hear me? She sang my song. I almost told something I wasn't supposed to tell. But anyway, her name is Fantasia. Now, did I read somewhere that you also was on American Idol?
You did.
Oh my. And how far did you get?
I got to Hollywood Week in, I think it was maybe season 12. It was the year of 2012. That was when I was filming everything. And so I made it that far, and that was exciting. And my goal, so I said, I think I'm good enough to make it to the judges. So the judges, like the 3rd or 4th round, depending on the city that you're in. And I said, I think I'm good enough to make it to the judges. That was my goal. And then I made it past the judges, and I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about what's going on. And so I made it to Hollywood Week, and It was an experience. It was an experience.
I can't imagine, but you know how we say I can imagine, but I really can't imagine what it's like to get to Hollywood Week out of thousands of contestants. You know, but then you decided that, you know, now let me just say that she got a lengthy resume too. You know, she's done film, she's done stage, she's done commercials, she's done TV. I'm probably leaving out some voiceover.
Yeah.
But then you decided that even though you made it to Hollywood Week, which is everybody's dream that's trying to get to be the American Idol, you decided to take a detour. Talk to me a little bit about that detour that you took.
So I decided that singing as a career wasn't for me, and I found that out in Hollywood Week. So I grew up in church, and the time that I grew up in church, if you're a singer, you have two paths. You're going to be a gospel singer, or you're going to be a praise and worship leader. You understand? That's it, because everything else is, you know, you playing the devil. So because I love to sing, I decided to go the route of singing. But here's the thing about me. Singing is a part of me and will always be a part of me. It's how I escape. It's how I minister to myself. And when I was around people who sang all the time, I don't sing all the time, you know, and when I was around people who sang and took their craft incredibly seriously, I was like, my senses were overwhelmed. I was like, this is not what I want to do. And I felt more anxiety than freedom with singing. And so acting and singing, I always loved both of them. And so I was like, well, God, what am I going to do now? I mean, because I thought I was supposed to be a singer, but I don't think I'm supposed to feel this way when I'm actually supposed to sing. And so I ended up going the route of acting, and I was an extra on the set of Get On Up, the James Brown film that filmed here in Mississippi. And for the first time ever in my life, I felt like I was home when I was on that film set. It was my first time ever being on a film set, and I was like, oh, this is it. So I knew that I was supposed to be in the entertainment industry. I just took a detour to a different route to get there, and I love acting so much. It's never an anxious feeling for me. It's always a feeling of excitement and purposeful. So that's my journey. But I do still sing every now and again, and when I feel the inspiration in writing some songs or whatever, then I'll put things out for the people that like to hear me sing. And I'm still on the praise and worship team at a church I go out at, so I do still sing. It's just not as a career.
Okay. Well, you know, when I listen to your single, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. When I listened to that single, I thought about Nadine. I thought about Nadine, and you guys go back and listen to it and look at the words, Felicia. I thought about Nadine. So I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna go back to Felicia, because then I'm gonna make some connections for us. Now, Felicia, you talked to us about Nadine, the book. Now, give a brief synopsis of the play, the stage play, and what it's about.
Well, it is a loose adaptation of the first book, Sister Nadine's Ways. But with the stage play, we introduce a few new characters. We have a few new couples that attend her church, and those couples that attend that church, along with their pastor, who has some issues himself, they are going on a church retreat. And as they said, they're going to go on this retreat, and they're going to be changed forever. So they pile up them with all of their hang-ups, which they don't recognize, and they go on this trip. In the process of going, they have an accident, a horrible accident. And when they come to, they realize that they are in heaven, standing for God before the judgment seat, about to be judged for their lives on earth.
So these folks have packed up and they're going on a church retreat, and it doesn't quite go the way they expected.
Right.
So it is go ahead.
I was going to say, and the couples are very interesting individually. All of their hangups that they have, that they don't recognize. There are, individuals, these couples who do certain things and use what they do. They use the Bible to support those things that they do. You have individuals that they love to be in front of the crowd, and they think that everything they do, they like to get the approval and accolades from man, and so they love that. And in the process of doing that, they also think there's nothing wrong with breaking the rules when it comes to relationships and things like that. You have individuals in there who don't feel they're worthy of God, but yet they're still trying, to have a relationship. They're trying to learn how to do that, and they're using Sister Nadine as the person that they look up to for how to have this relationship, but they still don't think they're good enough. And so all these characters that you meet on this stage are definitely going to be, I believe, people that we know in our day-to-day lives or have come in contact with.
Well, I started writing down a few things that you were saying, Felicia, and now I want you guys to just do a little mental check. Don't type nothing, because like Brady already said, this day and age you can't be typing saying anything. But if you know someone who uses the Bible to justify what they do, just do a check mark in your head. If you know somebody that likes to showboat, if y'all don't know what I mean, they got to brag about everything. That's what I mean by showboat. Do another check. If you know some people that's got side pieces, out on their significant other, do another check. If you know someone who is trying to live the best life that they can live, but they might be looking to the wrong role model, but you can't tell them, do another little check. Because as you said, Felicia, we all know some of these individuals.
Right.
And, the Brownie, An Unforgettable Trip. Now, I want to go back to Brownie because, I've got the 2 stars of the stage play here with us. You chose, I understand the trip part because they're going on a church retreat. Can you tell me why you came up with Brownie? Because I want you to share yours.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wanted to base this play, of course, around Nadine, and Nadine being who she is. One of the things that's really terrible about her that she doesn't want to admit is she's selfish and self-centered. And there are things that, somebody like that, if it's something that they have, they don't want to share it if it means so much to them. Yet they say, I'm a woman of God, I'm a Christian, but you're not a sharing and giving individual. And so once I tied that in, I said, well, what could I use? So I wanted to be different, something nobody would expect, something original. Well, okay, what are some things that I like? And once I narrowed down some things I like, I was like, okay, everybody likes dessert, so let's choose something from that area. And so, hey, I saw this beautiful graphic. I thought about what it is that I like, and I said, that's it. Because I wanted to pick something. It could have been the macadamia cookie. I like that too. But okay, just picked out something that I liked and use that to be a symbol of when people have things that really, really dear to them and they really, really care about, when they say that they are people of God, but when it comes down to it, are you willing to share that or give that to someone? And bless Nadine's heart.
She's not willing to share. Can I help?
She's still working on it.
I want you to give me your thoughts, Lenita. Nadine, she's well put together, just like you are. She is good looking. She's beautiful. She's well put together.
That's why she got a kid.
Kenny, Kenny, he likes her. He knows. Yeah, well put together. Well, I guess I really should be asking Kenny this. Kenny, she's well put together, isn't she? Now, sometimes you approach her. Is she sweet? And then is she sweet some of the times you approach her, Kenny?
I think that Nadine, clearly there has to be a much softer surface than the outside, or else Kenny would have never been married to Nadine.
Absolutely.
So there has to be a breaking point with her somewhere. Her husband has to just find a way to get through to her in some way and sometime.
Absolutely.
Right.
And now, Lenita, this is a private conversation between the four of us and everybody that's putting this
in the world.
Now, when I was prepping and I was thinking about Brownie, and you tell me if this makes sense, Lenita. Sometimes she's soft on the inside, like caramel, got that caramel running through, and then sometimes she kind of nutty. You don't know whether it's going to be pecans, and I'm throwing macadamia, but I was thinking pecans and walnuts, and you just don't know what you're going to get when you say hello to Sister Nadine. Now, is it good? Is that kind of who she is?
I think there is a softness about Sister Nadine that's buried very deeply within her. And because, I think that she may have been a gentle soul, but with all of the traumas that she had to go through in her life, it forced her to be hard and tough. And there is a time where she depends on Kenny to provide for the family, and she does a job, and then Kenny's not able to do it. And so that's in the book. And I think that that's another part of, like, she was vulnerable enough to trust him in this way, and then just another part of her that got snatched away when he wasn't able to carry everything. And rather than her being of the mindset of, okay, let me help my husband, it was, I'll do this on my own. He ain't worth it. And
she only paid the water bill one time.
I love it.
One time.
And that was one time too many, Kenny.
I love it.
So, I think
now,
go ahead.
Oh, we just got some delay here. Keep talking, Lenita. It's just a delay.
There's just been so many blows to her heart that she's not really willing to show the deep part of her heart. And so you get what you get. But definitely don't mess with Nadine, because the one thing she know how to do is fight. That's the one thing she's proficient at, is fighting.
And we all know Sister Nadine, and I was making some notes. She's hard and she's tough, and I'm going back to that Brownie analogy. Sometimes the brownies be a little dry and they be hard and tough, but it's still a brownie. I think Felicia said a rose is still a rose, so it's still a brownie, but sometimes it's a little dry. And Sister Nadine can be a little dry. She can be a little nutty, meaning that she can roll right over you. But you're right, she's still fragile. And that's the part that we really don't see when we see her, because she don't want us to see that side of her, but she's fragile. Now, you mentioned trauma, and I know that there's a disclaimer for the play, because there are going to be a lot of themes that may bubble up to the surface that may be unsettling for some folks. So, Felicia, would you sort of speak just a little bit about some of those things?
Well, some of the things that are going on in the stage play, first of all, we have a couple, Deacon and Sister Wright. In their interaction with each other, Deacon Wright is one of those individuals that, again, justifies everything by the Bible. And so there is a scene in the play where he is physically abusive to her. And we are actually going to show that, because just because you're a deacon in the church doesn't mean that you are not at home doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And his biggest concern is, I'm a deacon in the church, and if I don't have control in my home, I can't have control in the church. What does that look like to me? And so he tries to keep his wife submissive and humble to him. And he is not only verbally abusive to her, and, emotionally he's disconnected too. And so he is physically abusive to her. So there will be that scene. And so you have individuals that have been victims of domestic violence, you know. And so we want to make sure that we let them know, you know, we don't want that to trigger anything, but if it does, we will have social workers there on site also available to talk to them. We also have teenage mutilation. And the middle character, Katia Madison, plays that role. In this play, one of the things that she does to deal with living with Nadine and all the things that are going on in the house is she cuts herself out of frustration and anger. Does she really, really want to kill herself? Maybe not, but emotionally she feels like she does. And so you have parents out there and teenagers that are dealing with that, and they're dealing with things, and they cut themselves as a way of dealing with that. So again, that could be something that could trigger someone. And hey, I would say just that final scene, as each one of these people go through judgment, and you have to see a representation of Satan and the angels, and these people being drug off, screaming for their lives, you know, for their souls, and they're being pulled off and dragged off, you know, into hell. Yeah. And so, hey, you just, you know, never know how that may affect people. But everything in this play, I mean, it's truth. It happens. And so we are, you know, just addressing all of that. But we want to make sure that people understand, hey, if it's content in here that you may not be comfortable with, maybe you don't want to bring your young children to it. You know, but you have to make that decision. Or maybe you're sitting there watching it, and maybe you have a memory of something that has happened to you before in the past, or someone you know, and if it unsettles you in some way, again, we'll have individuals there on site that you can talk to. Because Nadine is, whew, she can be unsettling.
To say the least. To say the least. And I think that very forward thinking, and I thank you for sharing these storylines, Felicia, and the actors who are bringing them to life, because in the African American culture, in our homes, there's still a lot of resistance to talk about generational curses, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, individuals cutting, because there are children of color who cut also. And when cutting came to be something that was being talked about in mainstream, a lot of people of color didn't think that our children were being impacted by that. But we are impacted by it also. And so I thank you for being willing to share these messages, because folks are living this every day, and then thinking ahead to have social workers on hand to assist anyone who may be triggered by what they're seeing. And certainly, as you say, judgment, you know, people have different ideas about judgment, but to see it played out with characters that you can recognize in your own space, that can be a bit unsettling. Because then you begin to think about, you know, what about my whomever? What about me? You know, what do I need to do to make sure that when judgment comes, you know, I am going in the right direction and not the wrong direction, based upon your beliefs, of course. Your beliefs.
Right. And let me add this too, Teresa. Also in the stage play, we are showing and portraying the relationship, you know, just in our Black communities, in our household, between the man and the woman. Because a lot of times it can be the woman is more dominant. She wants to wear the pants, the belt, and the drawers. But still she wants him to be a man, but he can't because she's not allowing him to do so. And then with that comes the verbal abuse and physical abuse. And even though we don't show it as much in the stage play, when you read the book, the physical abuse that Nadine piles on Kenny is a lot. You know, even just verbally, the way she talks to him. So it shows that also. And hopefully any individual that is that way or may not know at the time is that way, that they see that and watch that on the stage and say, is that me? Am I that way?
And thank you for saying that, Felicia, because I think that's so important also, because sometimes we think of domestic violence still only from the perspective of the male doing something to the female in the relationship, but it's a lot of females who are physically and emotionally abusive to their male husband. And you guys hear me keep saying male and female, because again, we have relationships where we have the same, and I hope I'm saying it correctly, sex, but people don't look at it as a role. But regardless, if someone is doing something that, I'm gonna use unkind as a big picture thing, unkind to that other person, That's not a good thing.
Mm-mm.
Because we should be respectful of that individual that we've chosen to share that time of our life with. And so, when we talked about Kenny earlier, and, Brady was talking about, how he wanted to portray the complexity of who Kenny is. Because Kenny loves his kids. He loves those girls. And he loves Nadine. But he sees what she cannot see. And because of that, I believe he bears that brunt of her abuse. And he uses, and let me just say this, folks, people self-medicate all the time. Some people use food. Some people may use a liquor. Some people may use another type of drug. People use, this is not for children, people use porn. People use many different things to self-medicate. And Kenny has just chosen those two things to self-medicate. But he still wants his wife. He still believes that there is good in this woman. And so, Kenny, how do you, I understand that there's the drinking, there's, the smoking, but if you could, being a strong African-American Black male who has experienced a lot because of the industry that you're in, and some of the things that you've experienced, a typical Black male, no matter how successful he is, would not have experienced some of the things that you've experienced because of your industry. If you could give Kenny a piece of advice, and think of it as Kenny, but anyone who may be experiencing similar things, what would you say to that person?
Now, of course, I would have to say that that would have to go hand in hand within a relationship, because we know that it takes two people to make a relationship successful. Now, we've heard throughout the ages that communication is always very important in a relationship. But one thing that I've learned is that comprehension is far more important than communication in many instances. I can communicate with you all day long, but if you're not understanding what I'm telling you, and I'm not getting through to you, and you're not getting through to me, then it's just a waste of time. In many instances, we also find that we can use things in our lives and they become idols. And in many instances, that's also what had taken place with the Brownie. The Brownie is Nadine's go-to. It's her go-to when she's trying, because we see this tough exterior, but the one thing that she uses to hide most of her emotions and to hide, she hides behind the Brownie. She loves her little snack. And that's just something, you know what I mean? And so sometimes in relationships in general, we do that. We find certain things that we make idols, and they seem like such small, little petty things, but they can grow to be such a much bigger problem behind the surface. So what I would say to most men like Kenny is that get comprehension with your wife. Don't just communicate, but get through to her. Find out, and not only that, in finding out what it takes to get through to her, you'll also help yourself find where it is that you're trying to be as well.
Yes.
Now, do the ladies want to weigh in on that before I make a statement? Especially, I know you married, Felicia. Lenita, you still holding auditions? You're not married.
I am good as married. It'll be 7 years in June.
Oh, I'm the only single person on the lot. They all spoken for. They all spoken. But the ladies who are married, though, on a serious note, how do you respond to what Brady said? Because he said we always go back communication, but it's comprehension. What do you think?
That's true.
I would agree that it's about comprehension, because if you don't understand what your partner is telling you, and also if you don't understand how your partner is and know how to read between the lines, then you will just take what they're saying at face value. And sometimes taking that stuff taking what's said to you at face value can be very hurtful. It can be misleading. People can often, I have found that people will often tell you what they need, and then you can do your best to give it to them, and it still not be enough. because people really just don't know what they need. And so I would say that specifically in a marriage, and especially for me, just speaking for me, my relationship with God is so key, because in times of misunderstanding, then I'm saying, okay, God, what is really being said? What is really the need here? And I'll go with what the Holy Ghost says rather than being told to me. And that's just not in marriage. That's in relationships in general, because you have many relationships that are dear to your heart, and they're not romantic. You know what I mean? And so, and sometimes people need different things in different seasons of their lives because they're going through some strange stuff and they don't know how to deal. And so, communication with the Holy Ghost for me is always very key in trying to best support that person wherever they are and whatever season they're in.
You know, I want to try to see if I can connect a couple of dots here. You know, Kenny's talked a little bit of, excuse me, Kenny. Well, you did, Kenny. Brady.
That's what we call
Brady.
Well, that's my stage name, so I'm
about character. Call him by character.
Okay, Brady, Kenny, he talked about, and you have to understand this because you are Kenny, Brady, that the idol and that the Brownie has become an idol for Nadine, because Lenita, Nadine, won't let anybody get into her Brownie, guys. You got to understand. You know people like that. They church people, but they won't let you have some of what they have. And it's like, oh, I'll give you some peach cobbler instead. Well, I had one of the little pieces of that Brownie. I got apple pie here if you want some apple pie, but they had no Brownie. And, you know, you think about that, and you think about sacrifice, and that these individuals are going to all go into judgment day, as we will too at one point. It made me think about the thing that Lenita just said, relationship with God is key. So if that is key, but I won't give you any of my Brownie, what does that say about my relationship with God? Because I don't know where you were going with that, Felicia, when you crafted, because I don't want to give too much away. But that says a lot about us as Christians or people of faith, or good people, however you want to characterize it. When something that I hold precious to me, I won't let you have any of it. And the need for sacrifice is so important. And do you think perhaps those that were going on the retreat, did they understand what it meant to sacrifice? I wonder, guys.
I don't think any of them were really thinking about sacrifice, because they all thought that they were perfect. So, you know, for them, we're just doing what Christians do. We're going to all go on this retreat. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. We're going to learn so much. And that's all they were thinking about, because us, we're really perfect. We're good. But, you know, we like a good program, or we like a good retreat every now and then. So, yeah, that's kind of how it was with them.
And I was never invited to the retreat, just so you know.
No, because I can't take Kenny around my pastor. He would do nothing but embarrass me. Yeah.
That's right.
Could have been the very time she could have been saving her marriage now. She'd have been inviting her husband to the retreat. But she didn't invite me to the retreat now.
You turning up all your 20 ounces. You can't come to the retreat.
All right.
Well, Kenny, Brady.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, let me be stereotypical. Now, you know you didn't have nothing to wear. And,
sure, go ahead. Use that excuse. Use that.
Because some of you all don't count.
You know, and you don't know how to talk with them, interact with them. Even though you tell me that sometimes you see some of these folks down at the bar, but you see, you don't know how to talk to them and everything.
Use whatever excuse you want to use. It's fine.
Well, you know I got my eye on the pastor too now. I just say it. Because we know those people that got their eye on the pastor. But you're right, though. You should have been invited. But Kenny, thank God you won't invite.
No.
Well,
the ancestors were looking out for you, brother.
Grace and
Now,
mercy, baby. Grace and mercy.
Grace and mercy.
so let me interject this too with Kenny bringing that up. It brings up a good point I want to also add is I want people to also see from reading the book and in this play that this woman of God, this usher, this saint, did not realize that she needed to minister to her own household. She needed to minister to her husband. She needed to pray for him. You know,
Yes.
she needed to try to encourage him, and she didn't do that. She was so busy criticizing him for his outward sins and shortcomings, she couldn't even notice her own. She did not start ministry in her own house. And what does it say? Ministry begins at home.
Mm-hmm. Now that's powerful. Now, if we wouldn't be off camera, we all should get up and run.
And,
So we're gonna have to sit down
and
and
shout right now.
we'll run afterwards because that is so powerful because it begins at home, and even though we don't know everything yet about all the other characters in those couples,
Right.
but were they taking care of home? And taking care of home, I'm alluding to the baller now, does not mean just bringing in that money or making sure all the bills are paid.
That's right.
Because it takes more than that. We are more than just the material things that surround us. We're flesh and blood. And so we require more than that. So again, knowing that you have to, the charity starts at home and then spreads abroad. Now, guys, our time is slowly winding up, but I'm really intrigued by this, and I want to know, how can people go and watch this play? Now, how can I get my ticket?
Well, you know what? I'll let Kenny and Nadine tell you about that.
If you are in my circle of people, you can get your tickets directly from me, or you can go to the link. There's a link on Eventbrite, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. Eventbrite, and purchase your tickets there. But if you want to see my face and support the play, then send me a text or a DM, and I will bring you your tickets.
And Brady, how can folks get their ticket?
Well, on April the 29th at the 3 o'clock hour, we will be climaxing this fantastic production on stage in Raymond, Mississippi. I was trying to read the flyer and key you all the info, but I can't read it and look at you at the same time, so I'm going to come back to it later. But Lisa, I'm going to let you pick it up right here.
Brady has Kenny has tickets.
I got tickets.
Kenny has tickets, and so you can see Kenny or his lovely wife, who's also in the play, and we'll be interviewing with her later. She plays the role of Eva, Lakeisha, so she has tickets. Or again, Eventbrite. Any of the cast members you can see to get tickets.
Well,
inboxes. We can inbox us on Facebook.
And I will make sure that the link for getting the tickets is in this segment and all the other segments that we're going to do. But now, what if I can't make it to Mississippi? Will there be any other way that I might be able to see it?
Well, we are also going to be having Images Limitless, whose owner is James Abram. He will be recording the play. And so if you want to get a copy of the DVD, we will be putting information out. Contact us to be able to get a copy of the DVD. We'll also have a sign-up sheet at the production. If you want to sign up to get your DVD then and make your payment for your DVD, we can do that also.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I'm there, I'm definitely going to want to get a copy of it because, I got to make sure
that
my friends sit because, again, this can be a book club. This could be a book club. It's a DVD of a stage play, but it's a book club because there's so many layers to these characters. So I urge you to make sure you get a copy of the DVD also. And for those of us who are not in the Mississippi area, we're going to be getting our copies of the DVD.
Let me also add this, Teresa. I'm sorry. And if they want to see the play in person and can't come to Mississippi, you have a venue for us to bring this production to you, then hey, we will get on the road and bring this production to you. You get the venue, we'll be there.
You heard it here. You might want her to bring this play on to you guys. So please DM if you can't find Felicia's contact information. She's tagged in this show. call me. Don't call me because you don't even have my phone number. But I won't answer the phone. I'm sorry. I just don't answer calls anymore. But I shouldn't have said that, but it's the truth. DM me, and then you'll get me faster that way, and I'll get you connected. Because again, this is a wonderful play. I haven't seen it yet, and I haven't read the script, but I've read both of her books, and I know Sister Nadine, and you guys know her too. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to chuckle, but get a good message that might possibly change your life? And this stage play can do that. Can do that. Yeah. And so now what they said was you got to get a ticket either from Eventbrite or one of the cast members. So that means there are no tickets going to be sold at the door now. They got to put that out there. Don't come thinking, oh, I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my ticket at the door. They're not selling them at the door. So make sure you get a ticket from a cast member or you go on Eventbrite and get your ticket because you don't want to miss this stage play. And we're going to have DVDs for sale and they'll come to your community.
Yes.
And these are top-notch actors. We're going to be interviewing, I'm going to be sitting down with Felicia and other members of the cast over the next couple of weeks, and you're going to be surprised at the level of talent that Felicia, her casting director, and God have brought together to bring this play to life so that as we know, each of us are ministers. We all minister in a different way. So you're going to leave this play being ministered to in so many different levels that really, there really should be no excuse for you thinking about doing a different way. I just saying. So again, please stay tuned. We're going to be doing this over the coming weeks leading up to the play. And as Brady said, it is April the 29th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is going to, I'm going to look at my paper. I'm going to see if I can read it out a little bit, Brady. The Gospel Stage Play, The Brownie, An Unforgettable Trip, and it's going to be unforgettable, will premiere at Kane Cochran Auditorium on Hines Community College in Raymond, Mississippi. So you want to make sure that you're there. Now, before I conclude our time today, I'm going to see if our cast members have anything that they want to say, and I'm going to let Felicia have the last word.
I just want to say, when you come and see this play, to really, really think about yourself and really analyze some things about yourself because, like Felicia was saying earlier, there is a way to do things in the church, and a lot of people can compartmentalize things and keep God out of certain areas, and so they think that as long as they're together spiritually, they don't really have to get this other stuff together, or maybe they just don't think that God can help with this because God is a God of order, a God of tithes and offerings, a God of church on Sunday and Wednesday or whatever it is, a God of ministry and not a God of personality and personhood, I guess, being your own personal God that will help you in the deep, dark things that you don't want to face. And so when you're there viewing this play in whatever manner you're viewing it, consider yourself. And if there's something about yourself that's very, very painful and hurtful and hurting that you haven't given to God to help with in that area.
Brady?
The family as we know it appears to be coming to an extinction. And in order for us to return, we must first return to God. And if we do that, things can work so much smoother for us in life. There's a message as well as a purpose for every single scene and every single line that is within this play. And if you will, and I feel that it's something that could very much so be usable for all ages. So with that being said, come out and see this awesome production that has been pulled together for a purpose. I assure you that there is something that will definitely reach you. Come out on April 29th at 3:00 p.m. Felicia?
Awesome. Thank you. So let me first of all just thank you, Dr. Teresa, my friend. Thank you for this opportunity for my cast to be able to intermingle with everyone on social media and introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their character. I also really am just thankful to God for the talent that he has brought me through my casting director, Lenita Davis. I am so thankful and grateful for her. She is an amazing talent. She's pulled this together for me, and I just want to personally say thank you so much for that. I also want to recognize some of our sponsors that are helping to make this possible, because as you all know, productions have expenses. They are very, very expensive. And so I just want to take this time also to thank my sorors, the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Delta Zeta chapter here in Jackson, Mississippi, the premier chapter, for supporting me with this event. Also, Earth Care Lawn Services. Also want to thank Best Way Rental and Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church here in Clinton, Mississippi. And we have several other sponsors that we're also going to be highlighting and thanking during each one of our interviews. But other than that, I just want to say, those of you all that have these churches, that have these members that say we don't have anything to do, we don't have nowhere to go, there's nothing for us, look, take a deep breath, bring your mirror to look at yourself and examine yourself, and come to Hines Community College, April 29th, 3 p.m., Raymond, Mississippi. There will be no tickets sold at the door.
Well, guys, you heard it here. April the 29th. I think you need to be in Raymond, Mississippi at 3 p.m. watching the Brownie, an unforgettable trip. You do not want to miss these individuals because it's going to be a trip. I want to thank you all for being with me today. I look forward to our additional interviews with the rest of the cast. And as always, to my audience, you know my sign off is make sure you take care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, you cannot take care of anybody else. So until next time, I wish you all a great day. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.